Hello, it's coming to you from beautiful Danville and the beautiful metaverse. And I hope that you are having a wonderful day and welcome to Midday with Reverend Don. And as you know, if you've been following Midday with Reverend Don, if you would like to interact with me directly, you can type your question or comment directly onto whatever platform you might be watching on. And it will appear here in my chat room, and we can talk directly back and forth. And that actually is one of my favorite parts of this broadcast, one of my favorite parts of the day. And I hope you're all having a lovely day. I had quite a day yesterday, and you may have seen, we created a crystal access point at the House of the Ancestors here in Danville. And this is a new acquisition, which will become the Temple of the Ancestors. And in coming months, you'll watch us transform this property from an old house into a beautiful temple. And that is going to be a major occupation. And hello to Janet in the chat room. Good to see you, Janet. And hello to Ravenwolf in the chat room. Good to see you, Ravenwolf. And today, I thought I would talk to you more about the crystal web and also about the Fighting for Freedom ritual coming up on the new moon next week on Tuesday, which is going to be quite the event. And this will be a beautiful occasion, and it will be quite the thing. And that will be Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central, August 15th, at the McCormick Place Lakeside Center. And this location happens to be one of the most intensely populated areas for crystal web access points. And one of the earliest parts of the crystal web. And hello to Amy in the chat room, and hello to Samantha in the chat room. It's good to see you. And hello to Antonio in the chat room. And Ravenwolf asks, can I come over with my toolbox and overalls? We certainly, I'm sure, will be looking for a lot of volunteer help in transforming this location. And if you watch the video, you'll see we did it in the garden of the location. Hello to Melanie in the chat room. We did it in the garden, and although we're in downtown Danville, or more or less downtown Danville, we're in Danville City. You really feel almost like you're in the forest in this area, this garden. Some people commented, because I also put up photos of Lord Jason burying the crystal access point. Hello to Raven in the chat room. After the ritual, that the area is a beautiful field of violets. It actually is. There's a downed tree that almost creates a wall. And all kinds of greenery everywhere. It's beautiful. It's very peaceful. You would not think you were in the middle of a residential area just a short way away from a major thoroughfare. Although you will know, watching the video, that you are near the railroad tracks. And it was very interesting. We had 3 trains during this short video, which doesn't normally happen. But it did on this occasion. So I want to talk to you about the Fighting for Freedom ritual. And this is a ritual that will be taking place at the Parliament of the World's Religions on behalf of the pagans at the Parliament. And it's about exactly what it sounds like. As you know, or should know from watching this program, the Parliament's call to conscience is defending freedom and fighting for human rights. And this ritual is tied into that concept, which is a very important concept for us. I was speaking with Sir Edward earlier, and we were talking about the fact that, this is what we've been doing all these years, fighting for the rights, primarily of our pagan people, but of human rights in general. And we've often been on the front lines of that fight, as we were in Hoopston, where we were directly confronted by people who felt we had no rights. And many other places also. We have been extremely public, as you know. And this puts you in the front lines of the fight for freedom and for our pagan rights, which are human rights. So we've always been in that fight for human rights. And it's been quite a journey and quite interesting in a lot of ways. And neither Sir Edward nor I nor many of our people have ever been pseudonym pagans. I have always been public as Donald Lewis. He has always been public as Edward Hubbard. We never hid who we were, and therefore we've often had to deal with this. Other people choose to be more circumspect, and that's their right. Um, but yes, I mean, the fight for freedom for us as a people, as a pagan people, as Corellian people, as Wiccan people, it is still going on. It is not certainly not fully accomplished. And John, hello to John Phillip in the chat room. Good to see you. And John Phillip says he's having trouble recording the live stream again. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure what to tell you for that because I don't know which platform you're on, but it looks like you're on Facebook, and the video, I believe, will still be there later. Just go to my Facebook page, it'll be there. Or you can go to Magic TV and find it there at YouTube. It will still be there. And hello to Sir Rolando in the chat room. And Rolando says, good day, Lord Don, and that he is looking forward to seeing me and Sir Ed very soon, and indeed you will. Sir Rolando is coming from the Philippines to the Parliament of the World's Religions, and it will be such a pleasure to meet him. And actually, we were talking about you this morning, Sir Rolando, as being probably our single leading peace warrior in the tradition. You have done such good work with the peace campaign, and there is not enough good I can say for that. It is a wonderful thing. And if you were watching the video of the Crystal Web Access Point yesterday, you'll see that we spoke about the powers of peace and love overcoming the powers of hate and fear. And Sir Rolando says, thank you for your benevolence and kindness towards us. That's very, very kind of you to say, Rolando. I've always had the greatest faith in you and your work. And, you know, I have to say that Sir Rolando is one of many wonderful people we have attracted to the Corellian tradition over the years. And I have always been grateful for that. So we want basically to open the crystal web and to use its energy to heighten the energy of this ritual fighting for freedom. And as you know, the crystal web is all over the world. It's in its 35th year. Yesterday was its 35th anniversary. It was founded during the Lion's Gate of 1988, 8888, and it has been growing globally ever since. Many of you probably already have crystal access points, but in preparation for this ritual, we have a number of things that we're going to ask you to do, if you're willing and interested, in order to heighten that energy and put it behind the fight for freedom. And hello again, John Phillip. It's good to see you. As I say, the video should still be there later if you're unable to record it or see it now. We're going to ask people to basically create a new astral connection to create a temporary grid for the new moon ritual. And this will be in coming days on this program and other platforms in order to prepare to focus that energy. Because, you know, if the world ever needed help with the energy of freedom, it's now. If we ever needed help with promoting human rights, it's now. It's not the only time, but it's as great a time as ever. And of course, it's always the now moment, so now is always the time. But we feel this is a particularly important time to put our energies behind this. So today I wanted to talk simply about the crystal web itself and how to create a crystal web access point if you don't already know. And Sir Rolando, who will be part of this ritual, says, oh yes, I've prepared some prayer inspired by the crystal web on August 15th, that Fight for Freedom ritual at the Parliament. And, you know, this is going to be such a great ritual. It will be a wonderful, wonderful thing. and we want to put our all behind it. So, as you know, the crystal web is built of crystals and energy. And it's built on the premise that crystals hold and transmit energy, and that the Earth is itself a transmitter. Not every crystal in the crystal web is buried in the Earth, but the majority are. Some are in water, some are in objects of various kinds. Some are on altars and connect into the web in a variety of ways. Reverend Ravenwolf says, I have my points ready. I have been connected to the Mother Temple for years. Yes, indeed. And if you watched the video yesterday, you saw me go through the process of linking a crystal web access point, but I'm going to describe it for you today. And I'm not going to do it for you, but I'm going to describe it for you. And what you want to do is you want to hold the crystal in your hands. You want to select the crystal. You want to attune to that crystal a little bit before you do the rite. It doesn't have to be a lot. Feel it. Ask it if it wishes to be your crystal access point. Because it is a permanent focus for this crystal. And once it's linked in, it doesn't really link back out. I suppose it could be dug up or otherwise disturbed, but in general, the energetic construct will remain even if the physical crystal is removed. Now, Samantha asks, what crystal should we try this with? Most people use quartz crystal, but in fact, you can use any kind of crystal whose particular energy works for you in the focus that you wish to have. And many crystal access points involve multiple crystals with a quartz crystal at the center, and perhaps amethyst, perhaps malachite, perhaps lapis, augmenting it. And you want to, as I say, take a moment to commune with that crystal. And pardon me for just a moment. And Samantha says, can we do this with crystal chips? Yes, I don't see why not. If you were using crystal chips, I'd use several. But yes, a crystal is a crystal. It's any quartz crystal amplifies and transmits energy. Any crystal, in fact, does. But quartz crystal is usually the best. But people do use other crystals to augment and to strengthen what they're doing. It is possible to use a piece of jewelry. For example, I'm holding this ring. I would not normally use it for a crystal access point, but it could be done. So really, it's easy to find a crystal because it can be so many different kinds. It can be almost anything you choose. But normally, people use a decent sized quartz crystal point, and that is preferable for your central crystal. And again, sometimes people use others to augment that energy. Some crystal web access points have actually been very complex with multiple rings of other stones around the central access point. So you can do that too. But Today we're going to talk about the process for blessing a single crystal for the crystal access point. So you want to hold it in your hand. Ideally, you can hold it in both hands. And above it, you want to become aware to create a tetrahedron of white light, that is a pyramid of white light, and imagine it spinning slowly clockwise. You want to call into yourself the powers of the universe and let those powers fill you. Fill yourself with beautiful, clear white light. Let that light go all through your body. Let it fill you entirely. And attune to those powers of the universe. And become aware specifically of your heart chakra. And let that energy strengthen and pool in your heart chakra. The Magical Mermaid says, "Hello, Reverend Don. Can you do this with the pendulum too?" Yes, you could. As long as it is a piece of stone, a piece of crystal. I don't think I would recommend any other substance. But the idea is that crystal particularly amplifies and transmits energy. So a crystal pendulum would be perfect. It would be just fine. Could be a quartz crystal, could be an amethyst, can be whatever kind of crystal that you choose to use. And from your heart chakra, when your heart chakra is filled with energy, send forth a beam of green light into that tetrahedron that you are seeing above your crystal. And hello to Lynn in the chat. And Lynn says it's hard to find the start time on Facebook. Always starts at noon. But I do realize things can sometimes be difficult to find on Facebook. And you'll notice I'm wearing a diamond ring today. One could actually use something like that, like a diamond or another expensive stone, if they chose. And I believe that there have been a couple of those used, but that's not normally what you would do. But this kind of stone works just the same way. And in fact, I would say to you, one of the reasons they're expensive is they work very well in a metaphysical sense. But you want to fill your heart with the energies of the universe, fill the tetrahedron with a beam of green light from your heart, and fill the tetrahedron with green light. Let that green light suffuse that tetrahedron, let it fill with beautiful green light. And it will fill more and more and stronger and stronger. And at a certain point, it's going to change. It will move from being a tetrahedron of light to being a cube of light. And when that happens, you will see that energy reverse its flow and come back into you. And let that green light come back into you. Fill your body with green light, going up into your head, down into your arms and your legs, into your hands and feet. And let that green light fill the crystal that you are holding. And let that crystal take as much green light as it can. And then bless it to be charged and connected to the web. You can use whatever words you want, but consecrate it to this purpose. I usually refer to the Divine Mother Goddess, the Divine Father God, the beloved ancestors, and ask them to help me to consecrate this stone for use in the crystal web. Let it fill with that green light, and it is prepared. Then you want to make a little hole in the ground. Ideally, you will have actually made that beforehand. So you can put your crystal directly into it, cover it over, and then you want to place your hands above it, send down white light into it, and you want to imagine the crystal this time filling with that white light and beams of light shooting off to connect with the other crystal access points nearby. There may be one, there may be many, it all depends on where you're at. But it will show you also the direction of the nearest crystal access points, and from there it will link into the entire web. And that is how you create a crystal web access point. There are also written instructions for this at Corellian.com under Crystal Web. You can find it in the side menu, or you can watch the video yesterday. Now, We did cast a full circle for this. It is best to do that, but you don't necessarily have to. But it's preferable for the energy. And if you don't feel like you're in a place where you can do that out loud, then do it silently. It's something you can do without anyone actually seeing you do it, if that's what you wish to do. This can be a very discreet ceremony or a very, very obvious public ceremony, depending on where you're at and what you're comfortable with. And as I say, fill the crystal with white light, let it connect to the web, and after that it's connected. Now, when you want to open it and use it, you want to imagine it sleeping in its cube of white light. When you see your crystal access point, you will see it in a cube of white light, slowly spinning clockwise. It's the opposite of the blessing. You send light from your heart into the cube, and into the crystal inside the cube. The cube will transform into a tetrahedron, and then it's open and connected to all those other access points, and you can put your energy in, or you can take energy out to use for many purposes. And that basically is how you create and use a crystal access point. I hope that I have explained it well. As I say, if you want to see it done, you can see it in the ritual I did yesterday, and also several at Magic TV. We have a number of videos on how to create a crystal web access point, and some videos of crystal web access points being created. And I will point out there is more than one way to do this. Some people use a simpler technique, and that is possible also. But I find this very effective. And as I say, we're going to be talking in the next few days more about the crystal web and how we hope to use it to amplify the Fighting for Freedom ritual, to amplify the entire energy of peace in the world at this time during Parliament. So I'll be talking more about that tomorrow and Friday, and probably next week. Although I have to say, once at Parliament, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen because Parliament moves so quickly. But this is what I expect. It's going to be quite the time. So I wanted, we're near the end of the hour. I want to take a moment and let you know that I'm doing a special on readings if you're interested. Now through the end of the week, I'm offering 80% readings. That is 20% off of my normal price. So an hour for $80, half an hour for $50. So if you're interested in that, please contact me. You can do so by email at donlewishp@aol.com, or you can message me at Facebook or Instagram and set up a reading. You don't have to use it now, but I will be offering this price only through the end of the week. But you could use it anytime in the next 12 months. So if you're interested in the reading now or in the future, this is a good time to get one. And you can reserve it, as I say, for up to a whole year. And honestly, if you contact me a little after that, I'm probably not going to be too rigid on that, because I like to have happy people. Also, you can support me through my Patreon at revdonlewis.com. And we will be doing, as you know, a number of different features at Patreon through the month, including my Patreon seminar. The next Patreon seminar will be on the Parliament of the World's Religions, and it will be coming in the last Saturday of this month, and it will be, I think, quite an experience. I don't know what that will exactly be about, because it will be about my experiences at the Parliament and my lessons from this Parliament and all parliaments. And until it's actually happened, I don't necessarily know what we'll be talking about, but it will be interesting. And I will give exclusive insights to my patrons. And I want to ask if anyone has any questions about the crystal web or about anything else. Feel free to ask. We're nearly at the end of our hour. And it's been a lovely, at the end of our half hour, it's been a lovely half hour. You know, I love spending this time with you, and I love getting to talk to you directly. And I love to see so many people who come to join me here and to get to talk to you directly this way. Um, as you know, I did Reverend Don's vlog for a solid decade, but there was no direct interaction. People could only interact after the fact in the comments section because this just wasn't there yet. But it really is a wonderful thing that I quite enjoy. And John Phillips says, thanks for posting your website address. Absolutely, it's my pleasure. And again, we'll be talking the next few days about the crystal web and how we hope to use it to augment the energies of the Parliament, the energies of peace in the world. And you know, one of the I think the best things that we have done out of all of them has been the peace campaign. And for almost 10 years now, we've been doing that peace campaign, praying for peace wherever you are in the world. I mentioned earlier that Sir Rolando Camon from the Philippines is probably our leading peace warrior, and he's one of many. But he has been so devoted to the peace campaign. It's inspiring to me, and I think to many people. And I think, therefore, I'm going to suggest that our last act today be to repeat our Corellian peace prayer. So I'll ask you to join me in that prayer. I pray for peace. I pray for love. I pray for stability. I pray that love may overcome fear. I pray for the nation where I live. I pray for the world. So mote it be. And that is one of several variations of the peace prayer. And I thank you for joining me for that. And I thank you for joining me for this half hour. I love to see you every day. I love you all. And let us now close with our prayer as we normally do. Divine Mother Goddess, Divine Father God, beloved ancestors, we thank you for your presence in our lives now and at all times. We pray that we will go forward together hand in hand for many years to come. Beloved ones, we ask you to guide us to our highest good and to the best lives we can lead. We ask you to inspire us with the spirit of peace and help us to fight for freedom in the world. Beloved Mother Goddess, beloved Father God, beloved ancestors, we know you are always with us, but from respect, we thank you for your presence, and may you be blessed now and always. And I thank you for your presence, and may you be blessed now and always, and I will see you tomorrow.